I'm that girl who has an opinion. And boy, have I got some epiphanies from yesterday's session that I had with Sally last night, including the following. um, I think I'm just going to take small subjects and share my thoughts and feelings and opinions about the information given, and thinking that me sharing some of the things that I think I've been stuck on with you, it may help you just to remember that I'm still learning myself, very much so, and we're all in this journey together as we're exploring the information that our loving teams have for us. So, gosh, I feel like I could talk about heaps of things, so limit it down. The one big thing that was probably my biggest epiphany was, of course, it is super purposeful and not an accident that things from our past lives are brought into this lifetime for us to overcome and master, shall we say. I feel like they're already here, and I'm like pushing them aside because it's like I want to speak for myself. Thank you. The biggest concern I sort of have had, I guess, now that I'm reflecting on my own inner work and what I'm still working through, is why the heck are so many people still suffering from trauma and tragedies and really hard challenges from other lifetimes? It feels like we're victims, and it's all so sorry and so sad and so hard and all that jazz. Well, gosh, I should have obviously known better that it's all purposeful and it's not an accident. And so I was finding myself thinking I had this little breakthrough epiphany with, oh my gosh, so the native who fell off the bridge, who was basically pushed off and not supported by a gentleman, still holding back my truth and my judgment and my labels, because I could be very casual with these conversations, and I don't want to be too relaxed, because then I was to start swearing, and I know that. So anyway, the native dies and is very upset in that moment because it's massive betrayal. He should have been helped up, and instead he was stood on to help him fall, which is not so fantastic, and definitely wasn't a life contract. So it feels like that would have been an extra surprise because there was no preparation for that soul to be kind of in balance with it or okay with it. And of course, as we heard, once he is having his life review, he's super balanced, has no problems with it at all. And so as I was listening, I was thinking, well, if he's got no problems with it at all in this ship, how come it is impacting Sally in this lifetime? And then I made this really lazy assumption that must be because she's back in that density now, and she's remembering everything that sort of happened to her and got all that trauma because it's like for like density. No. That probably could have been the most stupidest question I asked in that session, but it's I'm sure if I listen back to it, because I haven't listened back to it fully yet, I'm sure I probably would have made a few. And this is the thing, guys, massive disclosure, spoiler alert, I'm not perfect with these sessions by any stretch of the imaginations. I do the best I can, and I'm trying to feel into what is happening, what's the most appropriate. But I almost feel like I kind of go into a bit of a trance myself. And so I know I wanted to ask like Mary heaps of questions, like, did you have other kids? Tell me more. But it feels like that sort of mindset, that 3D mind, my consciousness, my ego has all these questions, and then I feel like I am sort of blocked or limited to ask certain questions because it feels like We are being guided to have these sessions, for me to ask these questions, and it's all purposeful, even the dumbass questions that I ask. So is that an excuse? Could be. But because I asked a dumbass question, now I've been able to reflect on it more so, and that's probably my biggest takeaway at the moment as I'm trying to process it. So, you know, I always feel so heartbroken for so many people who are carrying around trauma from past lifetimes. When I think, how on earth, unless they do these sessions, how on earth could they possibly overcome them? And of course, they have to live and naturally overcome it. You could be completely oblivious about drowning in Atlantis, but you survived water in the lungs with that cold, and therefore you have let your soul know you can survive this. This is, you're unbreakable for this, blah, 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 just as an example. So here I am trying to save and heal and protect the freaking world when it's obviously not my responsibility, and my lazy assumptions have tricked me over in thinking that in some regards we're just victims to this, and it's so unfair, and obviously they don't know, but I just didn't realize I was tripping myself over this. Even though I had neutral in some things, I just realized I hadn't just firmly clarified for myself that when he was doing his review and discussing what he was going to learn and experience this lifetime, is it this lifetime? I haven't ascertained, so there's still lots of questions that I didn't explore about. So the native, as he was then in this ship having his life review and discussing, was he then planning for this lifetime that she's living now? It kind of would make sense because I mean, it kind of, for me and my love of linear timelines, which I know is false and not true, but it kind of seems like it would make sense and natural, but then it may not be. There may be other things that they want to learn and master in different lifetimes to then be able to get into this one. So all fantastic, all mind-bending, and it is so totally vast to try and map out in our minds all of this, all of the purposes for everything. But I'm just so glad that now I can just fully, once and for all, 100% see and learn and grow and trust that all our triggering, all our insecurities, all our fears, all of that stuff, while we think, oh yeah, get away, it actually is here for us to hold, unfold, unpack, digest, process, grow from. And so we shouldn't be ashamed of any of the feelings we're thinking and feeling, because that is all part of our journey that day, that moment, that minute, that hour. So I just thought that session was so fascinating. I have obviously got so much other supporting information from other sessions to understand. I do acknowledge that I probably should have expanded more on what the ship looked like, but often when the client or the consciousness just appears into a room, like look at the room you're in now. If you suddenly just popped in there, could I have a conversation with you and be like, so what does the whole house look like? What does your street look like? Tell me more. When they're literally just in the room and they're trying to orientate themselves in that position, that perspective, that experience. And so while I was wanting to explore more about this ship and what it sort of looked like and how do you know it's a ship? I mean, obviously, where else could it be? Because we have all made this sort of assumption at some point that we're here in the bodies and then we die and then we go back to God or source and that is it. And then we're all like angels and we're all processing our lives and then come back down. But what we are discovering in sessions is that you go on board these massive generational ships, and we have simply had another lifetime, another experience, which is all part of the fun and joy. And jazz hands, and it did crack me up when they were saying they're so excited when they see you, and then they're so excited that you're going to plan another one. And I sort of giggled because I know so many people that it would be a very hard challenge for them to ever consider that they were really excited about coming here and can't wait to do more. So it cracked me up. And of course, as we know, because we've done so many journeys with Sally before, she's had many different lifetimes, and all just super purposeful, and she's so brave as a soul. She wants to explore all, and it is incredibly interesting, all of the exit points she has had and the lives she has lived. And this is the fun, because when you're in that on that ship, it's very obvious. They're so advanced that they don't have this thing and these experiences of the emotions and a range of emotions. And I guess that's the luxury of having the veil of forgetfulness and just living in these dilemmas and experiences just for that experience. I mean, remember when we go to like an amusement park area, some people would never want to go on the roller coaster because it just looks too terrifying, too scary, and whatever, scared of heights or whatever. And so people would avoid that attraction and go for something else. But other people would love that. Now, it's kind of the same for the choices in our life contract. Some people love the challenges and the scary ones and the hard ones, all just for that novelty factor of, I had that. And of course, it's almost like they don't even have the luxury of, well, I survived that, because it's not the purpose. When you are living a full life on a ship and you can come down, have these experiences, death is not the tragedy here. All of the lessons and experiences, that's the richness of it. And what we eat for breakfast and how we have our exit points, they're all just experiences that they have no emotional attachment to. But while we're here deep in the 3D, we have all the attachments to it. And that's just our lives are. So while we're going through a really incredibly challenging, potentially an incredibly challenging time for humanity, as it is awakening to these experiences that have been going on in this planet, the Grand Awakening, as I've heard them say in many sessions, including my own 2 years ago, and I had no clue what they were talking about. So now I can understand that everyone here wants to experience to some degree, may not be our degree of awakeness, it may be their degree of awakeness in whatever range that is. And so they're having these experiences to see the narrative not being truly of empowerment for humanity. And it is a trip to suddenly be aware of people who are responsible key figures for humanity maybe not being the best humanitarians. We all assume and hope that we are following and we are being impacted by really powerful, amazing humanitarians that want the best for us and our experiences to protect us and make sure we have a fair and equal society. And then here it is, something different, very different, and so fantastic times. So remember, we can feel anything we want and we can hold on to any challenges we want until we face them and think, is this really serving us? What are we learning from it? Are we pissed off and frustrated and feeling claustrophobic to what is happening? That is a choice we can make, absolutely. But noticing our frequency, do we feel happy when we choose those emotions? And I don't get a sense when we're on those ships, we would be like, oh my God, you silly girl, you held too much of emotions of feeling upset and worried and stressed. I don't think we judge ourselves like that, even though they're all very valuable experiences. I think for some of us, we've got lots of other things that we sort of need to be doing to be of service. So we've got to serve our own life contracts and experiences primarily. So if we're ignoring what we are supposed to be overcoming and learning on our life contracts, then we're just distracting ourselves. And when we distract ourselves from something, it doesn't go away, and often it will grow and grow and grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until we have to deal with it, and it's right in our faces. So, fun times, please don't feel like anyone in the universe and our teams or guides are judging us. But when we have signed up to do certain roles and to be certain support teams for people and have this better balance, that's judgment, so you know what I mean, when we're feeling like we've got a calling to be able to be of service, this is when our teams are really trying to guide us for that. So massive mansplain, sorry, trying to not do that. But that session last night was fantastic, and to be able to understand that we all go to these ships. I know this is can be quite a mind bend. We all go to these ships and we merge into our full true bodies, or we go to source, as they said, for sort of some time out. So I found the blessing of having a client like Sally who can see it's so rich with visuals that her personal experience was amazing. She has released so much density. That experience with the mother and the parallel life still was quite heartbreaking, but it is purposeful for many reasons. So we're just so lucky and so blessed to be able to have her be so open to sharing her sessions, and there's big private stuff in there. So thank you for everyone who holds space for her and loves her and supports her and really respects that this is private information that she's working through, and she's so brave sharing that. I do have to say it was very awkward when we all discovered that it was her husband this lifetime that helped her with that exit point, being the native, a little bit awkward. But, I'm not judging. He is an amazing father and partner. And so, we can all love him because we're not judging him at all. And we can respect that this is what they're working through as souls. So, with our big girl pants and big boy pants on, with our maturity and our egos put aside and our judgment put aside, and we have that respect of the information, I am sure we can all apply these personal experiences and lessons to someone in our own lives where we have had to overcome and not react to them trying to trigger the shit out of us just for us to have a reaction to lower our vibrations. So then they feel, isn't it like misery loves company? And I feel like not that I'm saying he's miserable or he's trying to, I don't think he's even conscious of what he's doing, and it's really not even for me to sort of like dissect that personal part of the session, because he's completely oblivious to these sessions, that it's his personal journey as well. So this has to be respected, that these are real people having these real lives, and as we have privilege to listen to this content and try to apply it to ourselves, obviously if we're judging any situation here in a personal level, there's massive inner work for us to do if we've got that, and we know this. And there's no shame, actually celebrate if you do find that there is a little trigger here or a little judgment or something, because as we have heard so many times in sessions, it is a blessing and a fantastic opportunity. Celebrate when you get triggered. Yes, I'm finally unscratching, unsticking, pulling out that thistle that I am part of a cactus family and be able to just face it, look at it. Why is this hurting me? Why am I triggered? Where has this come from in the past, and what it is reminding me of? And this is, seriously, we want to hunt down all these triggers, own them, explore them, unwrap them, unpack them, and then, put them in our growth pile. We have overcome that one, and we're overcoming this one. So, okay, I'm going to leave you here with this ramble with much love. I'm so excited for everyone to hear this session. I haven't processed the whole Tonga thing yet, and I didn't for a second think or feel that it was going to be nuclear, because we've just heard so many times that it is just not ever going to happen. We may think that we've got nuclear technology and weapons. We don't have them to be able to do what they think they're going to do. So it may look like there is a bomb here or whatever they're called, and then but in the real, and they may threaten each other. Different countries may threaten each other. Oh, look at my big bomb. Oh, my big bomb's bigger than yours. Whatever little games they're playing with themselves to scare each other and everyone else, we have heard time and time again, because so many people have wanted to know this information. Dolores covered it, and even people who haven't read Dolores's books, their session, and they haven't even listened to their sessions, they're still getting the same information. Trust that there is no nuclear weaponry here that's going to impact us in that way. But of course, and in saying that, you know, what's the difference between a nuclear weapon and then, say, a laser event? That's been something that I've personally had to be on a journey with to accept, and I've got there because I can't stop anything. I could try, I could ask the collectives to please stop that, thank you, I don't think that's nice, and they will just say, who do you think you are, Joanne? There is lessons there, there's significance there, and then, you know, remind me to humble myself and sort my shit out, because, you know, what I am struggling with is something that needs to be matured and grown from. So, you know, that is all fine. I am totally open to learning and growing as much as I can, so I don't want to be stagnant or stuck. So the one thing I did want to talk about, and I will do this in the next video or so down the track, I do want to listen back to that session, is this. While we have termed it a laser, what we understand with laser technology, you know, if we try to search what laser technology it is, I don't know if the technology or the beam or the impact is going to be what we would classify and label as a laser. Yes, it's quite possible that there is technology that is beyond our capacity of understanding that is considered a laser. But right now, because we love labels and all that sort of stuff, I don't know if the laser is a pure technical definition of what is going to be impacting. So as we know, what we call in sessions, just like with archangels and Arcturians, right? You either refer to them as one or the other, or whatever. So, you know, we all know that we've all got different names for ourselves: mother, friend, blah, 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 blah. The whole laser thing, please don't get tripped up on thinking it's what we perceive as a laser. It's obviously going to be some profound thing, and I have heard other people use what they would perceive as more official technical terms of what it could be, and that is fantastic, great for labels and great for definitions of names. We don't need to focus so much on the names as such, but more process the concepts and the emotions and the experiences that we're all going to be having. So big times, my friends. It's very fascinating when we start seeing more and more proof and evidence of what we've been hearing in sessions, and this is a really great time for us to use our inner peace and our maturity just to process this and see what's coming up for us and what's the sticking points. So much love. I will be back at some point, and I just hope that you can enjoy and respect that session as much as I did. And I want to just hold on to that information a little bit longer just to process it and not rush into something else and distract me, because I think it's a very big session in terms of life after death, which I think is it's just extraordinary. Anyway, much love to you. Have a fantastic day.